Hello and welcome to podcast.init, the podcast about Python and the people who make it great. I would like to thank everyone who supports the show on Patreon. Your contributions help to make the show sustainable. When you're ready to launch your next project, you'll need somewhere to deploy it, so you should check out Linode at podcastinit.com/Linode and get a $20 credit to try out their fast and reliable Linux virtual servers for running your app. And now you can deliver your work to your users even faster with the newly upgraded 200 gigabit network in all of their data centers. If you're tired of cobbling together your deployment pipeline, then it's time to try out GoCD, the open source continuous delivery platform built by the people at ThoughtWorks who wrote the book about it. With GoCD, you get complete visibility into the life cycle of your software from one location. To download it now, go to podcastinit.com/GoCD. Professional support and enterprise plugins are available for added peace of mind. You can visit the site at podcastinit.com to subscribe to the show, sign up for the newsletter, and read the show notes. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, I would love to hear them. You can reach me on Twitter at podcastinit or email me at hosts@podcastinit.com. To help other people find the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Google Play Music, tell your friends and coworkers, and share it on social media. We've got a few announcements before we start the show. First, there's still time to get your tickets for PyCon Columbia, happening February 9th and 10th. Go to pycon.co to learn more and register. There is also still time to register for the O'Reilly Software Architecture Conference happening in New York, February 25th to the 28th. Use the link podcastinit.com/sacon-new-york to register and save 20%. If you work with data or want to learn more about how the projects you've heard about on the show get used, then join me at the Open Data Science Conference happening in Boston from May 1st through the 4th. It has become one of the largest events for data scientists, data engineers, and data-driven businesses to get together and learn how to be more effective. To save 60% off your tickets, go to podcastinit.com/odsc-east-2018 and register. Your host as usual is Tobias Macey, and today I'm interviewing Marlene Mhangami, Mike Place, and Ronald Maravanyika about ZimboPy, an organization that teaches women and girls in Zimbabwe how to program using Python. So, Marlene, could you start by introducing yourself?
Sure. Yes, my name is Marlene, and I take on the role as the programs director of ZimboPy. So basically, I just sort of manage in general the day-to-day sort of runnings of the organization. Something else about me, I'm on the board of directors of the Python Software Foundation, and I'm really interested in nonprofit work and working with communities.
And Mike, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mike Place. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. My day job, I am the director of engineering at SaltStack, which many people may know as being one of the world's largest open source Python projects. And I am also on the board and work with Marlene and Ronald on ZimboPy.
So Ronald, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so I started learning Python by incident, if I may say. I was still a student and I had to go for internship. So during my internship, we had a problem with one of our databases that we were working on. And we needed to design a whole new database. So I come from an engineering background, that is mechatronics. So not having enough experience in IT, I had to Google around, and that's when I found out about Python. And I got lucky and got a scholarship to start Python. Soon after the scholarship, that was that, and I just fell in love with the Python community itself, and that's why I'm still developing with Python even now.
And going back to you, Marlene, do you remember how you first got introduced to Python?
Yes, I remember actually it was through Ron that I got introduced to Python. I had been looking for, I knew I wanted to start an initiative surrounding girls and technology, and I met Ron because I was looking for some programmers to sort of partner with to do some workshops for girls, and I met Ron, and Ron is a Python enthusiast, so he sort of convinced me that the language was good, and we actually started off, using the Django girls curriculum, and it was already, a really simple curriculum to follow. And so that's basically actually how I got introduced to Python.
And Mike, do you remember how you got introduced to Python?
I do. I got introduced to Python as a developer, first working on web applications, which I did for a couple of years. And then very early on, I started working with Thomas Hatch, whom I think I think you've interviewed in the very early days of SaltStack. And we worked together on that. And I've been working on that and writing in Python ever since then.
And so I'm wondering if one of you can start by explaining what is the mission of ZimboPy, explain a bit about what the organization is and does, and how it first got started.
So yes, ZimboPy is an initiative that aims to get Zimbabwean girls interested in computer programming, and specifically programming in Python. So the mission is basically that to get girls interested in computer programming from a young age and going on through to university level as well. How we got started was, so all three of us have a passion for, empowering communities. So on my end of it, I really wanted to see Zimbabwean girls really have tools to get into technology and to have a skill that I felt that they could use to maybe get ahead in the world. There's a lot of gender inequality in Zimbabwean culture sometimes, as there is all over the world.
And Mike, do you have anything else to add to that?
Sure. I became involved when I traveled to Zimbabwe. The community there was kind enough to invite me to keynote at their first ever PyCon in Harare. And I met an amazing community of really, really smart, really, really passionate Python developers there. And I happened to be sitting in the back of that conference the last day that I was there. And Ron got up and started talking about his desire to teach Python to young girls in Zimbabwe.
And when you were starting ZimboPy, were there other languages that you considered beyond Python for using in the curriculum? And if so, what was your reason for ultimately choosing Python as the primary language to work with?
Okay, so for Python, for us, it wasn't an option really. There were no other languages for us. Because initially when we started, we were doing workshops, just like the Jungle Girls workshop. So we followed through their way of doing things. So we just decided to adapt with Python and Django. But what really made us stick with Python is the fact that the Python community it's very friendly and it's big. People are willing to give you their time for free. They're willing to help you for free. So that's why we really stuck to the Python community.
And in addition to the pure programming aspects of software engineering, what other subject matter do you cover in the workshops? And also, if you can just describe a bit about how the workshops are structured and what the overall experience is like for the women and girls who are engaging with ZimboPy.
All right. So we have a really broad spectrum of the way we do things. So firstly, we have the active community, which is the community centers. So basically what we do is we have a community center, which is just a building which belongs to the local government. So get girls, young girls, teenagers, and then they come into our community center. So we teach them every week from the basics of Python. Then after they are comfortable with the basics of Python, we then move on to the website development side of things. That's where we start. From the web development, we move on to the Raspberry Pi, where we do various small projects with the Raspberry Pi. We also do a bit of data analysis. But that's at an advanced level now. So the other group that we have is we work with universities. So with universities, what we do is we call it the mentorship week. So what we try to do is we get developers to come and help out with projects that the students that are built on. For example, the last one that we had, which was in October, if I'm not October or November, if I'm not mistaken, we had the girls working on very interesting projects. One of the interesting projects was the one they created an OpenCV application where they could identify how many people are in a camera through the use of the Raspberry Pi. We also did some data analysis for use in insurance companies. The case study there was the Titanic, basically to say in the Titanic who was most likely to die. That was just the basics of using data analysis. We had a couple of guys from a European company called Centebo. They came to help us with that. Yeah, so there are a lot of projects that we work on, and they're in different sections. It's not, we are just not sticking to one section. But for the advanced girls, those that are in university, we are trying to move away from web development because a lot is being covered in that area. So we are moving to other areas, such as the use of the Raspberry Pi, data analysis, stuff like that. So really, it depends with the mentor that we get.
And how do you advertise to the communities that you're serving that ZimboPy is available as an option for them? And how do you get the women and girls interested in taking part in your workshops?
Right. Yeah. So it's been really very easy for us because as soon as we started, we built our website, then we advertised through our Facebook page. Students were already interested, and we were getting students through parents and high schools. So basically, a teacher will come in and say, I heard you have a workshop. I have so much number of kids that I want them to join your program. We only have a few computers, so we grade the students. Basically, we are choosing for the girls that are really good at math and who are in the science subject, to if I may say. So the advertising itself is basically social media and the word of mouth itself. The marketing part of it's not really a struggle because already students, they're interested when they heard about the program.
Are there any aspects of running and managing ZimboPy, both from the logistical aspect and also, or any technological aspects of it that you have found to be challenging?
So I think for us, some of the major issues that we faced have been maybe trying to coordinate with the girls in terms of their schedules, and to also coordinate. We work a lot with local government, and so it's really difficult to coordinate the two because the girls, most of their curriculum in school has just shifted, and so sometimes having to work with their schedules from school, and then also working with our local government offices and trying to make sure that they know when we'll be using the community centers and for how long. That's been a serious challenge for us sometimes, but overall it's been okay. Something we also faced was, really just having the girls starting from scratch and knowing that the majority of the girls that come to our coding clubs will have never, touched a computer before in their lives and won't have access to a computer at home. And so those are some things that we struggle with in terms of, helping the girls be consistent in terms of learning and remembering what we've taught them, because they don't usually have the ability to maybe go back home and practice there. So all the learning has to be done in the centers. So sometimes that's challenging.
Yeah, so just like as Marlene was saying, programming it becomes a way of life for you to catch it. You can just get into the community center, learn some stuff, and not practice, and expect to be able to be perfect on that. So besides that fact, financially, of course, we are not a big organization, so financially we are still struggling. So dealing with that fact of financial struggle and being able to take the girls into another level, because we would want to get to a level where we can open the community center such that if a girl is interested in working on a project, they can just come in the community center and work on that. And programming, mostly it needs internet, because you need to Google some simple things. The mentor is not always there to help you through. So of course we need internet, and we have been trying to coordinate with local companies that have internet, but we are still struggling on that. Yeah, otherwise pretty much in this aspects of running ZimboPy, I think those are the major challenges. Oh, sorry. Also, we are still building the curriculum, so would need some help putting in more content on the curriculum, which is hosted at GitHub. So would welcome people who want to contribute to the curriculum.
All right. And I'll add a link to that in the show notes so that anybody can go there. And if they have any ideas on contributions, they can go ahead and submit them.
Cool. Thank you.
And you mentioned that one of the challenges is in terms of the financial support. So I'm wondering if you can speak a bit to how ZimboPy is funded and any plans that you have to ensure future sustainability.
So we've been applying for grants and partnerships. So at the moment we are in partnership with GitHub. They were one of our first corporate sponsor. We also get donations from developers who are interested in the project. So we go to different PyCon conferences, and from there, that's where we get connections and links to developers that may be interested in funding the project. Then also ourselves, we sell ZimboPy products. Of late, I've been hearing a lot of people really interested in our t-shirts because of our logo. So we sell t-shirts. We also try to do fundraising programs so that we can help ourselves with the sustainability. But in terms of the future, we really need to be established probably in the States, because that's where most of our funding coming from. But the challenge now is the fact that our country is under there's data sanctions. So under these sanctions, a company which is in America cannot fund us directly. So if we can be able to get registered in the States, or get a big non-profit, let's say Oxfam, they already work in the community. So if you can get a company like Oxfam, which is willing to receive funds and then channel the funds to ourselves, that can be able to help us in terms of sponsorships. So what we mean is, when we go to conferences, every time we speak, our partner, they will be having our logo on our presentations. Then we are also in partnership with the PyCon Zimbabwe community. So they've allowed us to put in marketing material for our sponsors in their rooms. So in terms of our future plans to help us ourselves with sustainability, I think that's our main plan with sustainability. And then to also reduce costs, we are going to be inputting back the girls that would have finished through the program. So they will just come in and teaching those who are coming in as the new group. So that it remains a cycle, because currently as we speak, we pay the person who will be mentoring the girls through the program. So in terms of the future, mainly that's our plan.
And in terms of having the corporate entity for being able to receive funds, have you looked at all into the work that Open Collective is doing and whether that would work for your situation?
Not really. I haven't really looked through the open entity, how they do it. But when there's a data sanction, what they say is they shouldn't fund certain people who are under sanctions. But the only problem with that is these people who are under sanction, they own companies that own companies that own companies. So for an organization to fund us, they should have a complete documentation to say that these people are not linked whatsoever to the people who are under sanctions. So that's only where the challenge is.
And Mike, you were starting to say before how your main involvement is with helping in terms of offering mentorship. So I'm wondering if you can speak a bit about that aspect of the ZimboPy organization and some of the ways that the community can help with offering mentoring, and also just how the mentoring structure functions.
Sure, I'd be happy to. There are two main ways that mentors can participate in our program. We have mentorship weeks. We hold them a couple of times a year, and it's when a group of girls will come together for about a week of intensive study and often to work on a collective project together. Now, we pair them up with mentors, some of whom come in remotely via video conference, and some of whom are there on site. So there are opportunities for people who wish to travel to Zimbabwe and spend a week working directly with our teams there. And there are opportunities for people who might just have an hour or two during the day and want to contribute to the project. It doesn't take too much to participate remotely. We spend a little bit of time getting people prepared, and then we set them up with small groups of girls, and they work together through some sets of problems, or they work together on the project. Now, of course, as Ron said, there are also more traditional open source opportunities. If you go to the ZimboPy GitHub page, you'll see places where people who want to contribute can also help us write documentation, things of that nature. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If somebody wants to become a mentor, all they need to do is head on over to the ZimboPy webpage, and there's a inquiry form there. Once they fill it out, somebody on our team will get back to them and will help them find a place and time that they can participate.
And going back to you, Marlene, if you can share a bit about some of the success stories of some of the women and girls that have gone through the program, and the ways that they have been able to benefit from their time with ZimboPy.
So our program is relatively new. We've been running for maybe about a year and a half, close to 2 years. So I would say that we still are working with the same group that we started with, and except maybe for the mentorship. But overall, we've really seen some of the girls that have attended maybe our mentorship week have really said that the program has inspired them to continue working hard, and to pursue computer science. So a lot of the girls maybe will, I think there's a Python programming coding club on campus at one of the universities that we did a mentorship week with, and as a result of that, I think a good number of all of the girls that attended our mentorship week session have joined that Python programming club and are actually the only girls that are part of that programming club. So I think it's really a testament to show that, the mentorship week did pique the interest of the girls. And so they're really engaging with the community on campus and not being intimidated by maybe the guys that are in the same space. So that's been good to see. We've heard some really positive feedback from the professors that we've worked with in terms of the girls improving and their interest levels in class and in their day-to-day school activities being heightened because of the program. And then I would say, the girls are just excited to be there in the community center. They message us all the time and are asking when we're going to meet and want to meet regularly. So I think that is also just something that's good. And they have built, small things, not huge projects in the community center club. But yeah, we're really excited at the progress that we're making. At the moment, it's a bit premature to see that because they're all still in university, but hopefully soon.
For anybody who is interested in replicating the type of work that you're doing for your community in Zimbabwe in their own local communities, is there any particular advice that you can give to them?
I think I would say for anyone that's looking to do something similar, that a major thing is focusing, I would say, on creating, not just looking at the programming aspect. I think as we talked about before, but also trying to make sure that you build community and that the girls that are in your program feel like they have a sisterhood and that they are connected and that they can come to you for advice. I think that's a major part of making the girls keep that makes the girls that are in the program keep coming back. So I would say focusing on that a lot is a good thing. And especially in Africa, I would say not letting difficult circumstances stand in your way. Sometimes we've been faced with a lot of technical problems or just lack of resources. And I would say in those cases to try and be as creative as you can and also try and be as laid back as possible with some of those situations. But yeah, I think if the focus is just building community, making sure that your students are enjoying the program, then I think you would be successful with that.
So if you could each add your preferred contact information to the show notes, and I'll move us into the picks. And so this week I'm going to choose a library called Click from Armin Ronacher, which is a library for making it easier to build composable command line applications. So I've been playing around with that a little bit lately and enjoying that, and it's been getting a lot of positive reviews. So for anybody who is looking to build that kind of an application, it's definitely worth checking out. And so with that, I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to join me and work through the technical difficulties that we had recording and tell me about the work you've been doing with ZimboPy. Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting project that you're working with, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having us.